So you may not know it, but the reason you are here today is to become comfortable enough to turn within. There seems to be two primary phases of self-realization. There's the prior to turning within and starting self-inquiry, and then there's self-inquiry. But due to our conditioning, it seems, especially from a Western mind, that it takes quite a bit of knowledge gathering to become comfortable enough to truly turn and drop within. And that's okay. This is how it works. But this knowledge gathering is counterintuitive. The knowledge gathering is actually the disassembling of knowledge, the disassembling of false knowledge, so that all that remains is the truth, which is yourself. So it's understanding what false knowledge is. And false knowledge is simply any knowledge other than yourself. And this is all conceptual and intellectual knowledge. So if you can know it with your mind, it's false knowledge. And that's where it takes a while to come to an understanding with that, because we've all been trained to gather knowledge, to add knowledge to ourselves and know it with our mind. And we praise those who have more conceptual, intellectual knowledge than others. So this is a path, this being Advaita or non-duality, is the path of knowledge dissolving. And this is the true underlying message of Advaita. It's known as the path of jnana. Jnana exposes or illuminates false knowledge so that it can be relinquished, so that it can be let go, so that in the end, all that remains is you alone. Yourself alone is all that remains. And that's why the word alone is used quite often in describing, because it's you alone. There is absolutely nothing other than that when you know yourself directly. So the path of jnana isn't a path to it. The path has already been created. You've already generated the knowledge. This is disassembling the path and coming back home to your heart, to yourself. Even jnana, in the end, is dissolved as false knowledge, because it is only another concept. It's just a thought. It's just an idea. And thoughts and ideas are known by your mind and therefore are considered false knowledge, and all false knowledge has to be relinquished. So even jnana, in the end, dissolves itself as false knowledge, leaving you alone. Jnana is likened to a campfire in which you have a stick that stirs the campfire. And the stick refers to jnana, and the fire refers to the false flames of your mind. So the more the stick stirs the fire, it stirs up these false ideas of yourself, these false flames, and turns them into ash, while the stick is being dissolved into ash as it goes along. So in the end, the flames, the fire, the wood, the stick are all ash, leaving you. So unbeknownst to yourself, that is why you are here. You are here to understand how to dissolve false knowledge, so that you can follow the love of the calling of from within. The more you dissolve false knowledge, the more you will experience inherently this knowing to be drawn inward. So you do not decide when it's time to turn within. Self draws itself inward. You, as an egoic mind, do not decide to start the calling from within. That happens on its own accord. And these are some of the first indicators that you are moving closer to it, because you start to experience inherently and directly what's being pointed to, and you say to yourself, aha, I'm starting to understand. And it's not somebody who understands. It's just understanding is happening. And the more you show up to stay open, to dissolve false knowledge, the greater this knowing from within reveals itself. And this love to turn within reveals itself. There is an Advaita saying, Bhakti is the mother of jnana. Bhakti is love, and jnana is pure knowledge. So love is the mother of pure knowledge. The more you stay open to this message, the more your love is experienced to turn within, because you know that which you turn into is where true love and happiness and peace are experienced. And you long for that peace and love and happiness more than you long for the agitation of the egoic mind, of the false knowledge. It gets easier and easier to turn away from the false knowledge that drives irritation and agitation, and it becomes easier and easier to turn within to the love of yourself. Without love, you cannot know yourself. We love what makes us happy. And therefore, that's why we love knowing ourself, because ourself is happiness. And when you are absolutely honest with yourself, and you just sit with yourself in just a few moments of silence, you know this to be true. You know that this calling from within is real. We have just been taught to ignore it, and that's okay. That's apparently how it works. But know that this calling from within is real. You will soon know that it is the only thing that is real. And it's not a thing, it's an experience. This is what you've known your entire life. You were this as a child. And as you grew up, you were told that you needed to be something other than yourself, and you started to agree with that and move away from yourself and be something other than yourself. All this is doing is bringing you back. You're disassembling the path that took you away. You're disassembling that path and bringing yourself back home to yourself. So that's why you know this to be true. It's because you've always been this. You've always been yourself. In fact, you have been yourself for eternity. You couldn't be yourself if you tried. So allow this whisper, allow this knowing, this inherent knowing that you absolutely know when you're honest with yourself. Let it be the truth. Figure out how to allow it to be the truth again. And experience life from that place of joy. It's causeless joy. It is heaven. It is everything you've been working towards your entire life. To just be happy.